All right, a very good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all on frequency. This is ZA6YI running today's net, the QO-100 DATV net. I just want to see if we are actually transmitting. That will be a problem if we're not. Sounds like it, but anyway, let me just check quickly, and then we can continue. Yes, it's coming through quite well. So all good. Welcome to the guys on YouTube watching us. We'll see who comes up in a minute or two. Today we have the following on frequency. We have Nick, G4IMO, Phil, Mike 0 PIT, Leon, ZS1 Mike in Cape Town or near Cape Town, Henry, ZS6 Mike Charlie in Johannesburg, Tony, Golf 0 AZQ. I just logged you on, Tony. I saw you were testing, so I hope you're okay with that. And Benno, Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-Ray. Also want to just thank the Qatar Satellite Company for allowing us the opportunity to be on their satellite. Also wish to thank AMSAT DL, AMSAT UK, and the BATC for all their work. I just want to go back through the list, make sure I haven't missed anyone. No, that's the list as I've read it out. Nick to follow, and then Phil, Leon, Henry, Tony, G0AZQ, and then to Benno, and we'll keep the eye on the list to see if there are any more stations to come on. So, there we go. To you, Nick, sir. Golf 4, India, Mike, Oscar, to please take it. From Zulu Sierra 6, Yankee, India.
Right. Okay, I think it's working. Let me just check, make sure I've got some sound. Okay, I think it's working. Yes. Okay, turn that down. Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Yes, it's been 4 months since I last, well, over 4 months probably, but 4 months since I've been in the UK. So I've been overseas for quite a while. Anyway, where's my notes? Hang on. I've got some notes here. Yes, anyway, it's very warm here today. It's 20 degrees, 20 centigrade, so things are slowly warming up for our summer. I must look at the camera. Always look at the monitor. Must keep looking at the camera. Anyway, maybe I need to move the camera. Anyway, yes, so it's a lot cooler here than it was out there in the Philippines where I've been. It was 38 centigrade almost all the time for the whole 4 months, so it was pretty hot. While I was out there, we went over to Hong Kong as well, had a look around there, and then which is an interesting place. For almost every street in there has a large casino, so interesting place. But anyway, when I was out in the Philippines, the cost of the petrol shot up enormously. The sort of normal unleaded out there is 57 pesos to the pound. Sorry, 57 pesos for 1 litre. 57 pesos equates to about 70 pence in UK money. So from 57 pesos it went up to 130, which equates to £1.60 in UK money. So it really shot up out there. It has reduced now. It's come down to about 80 pesos, something like that. So, but yeah, very expensive out there to drive around. What else have I been doing? I haven't been doing any radio, obviously in the UK, but this time I went out there. I did take my my little portable radio. It's a little Eaton E5 radio, which has got FM on it and medium wave, long wave, and short wave, and it does as well as AM. It does single sideband, and I was hoping I'd be able to hear some Australians while I was out there, or even New Zealand or something. But I don't know what the frequency allocations are out there, but certainly 160, 80, and 40, I heard absolutely nothing. So I don't know whether they allocated those, but didn't hear anything out there. But 20 meters, 15 and 10 meters, I heard loads of stations on single sideband. Unfortunately, none of them spoke English, so there was plenty of Japanese and no Australians or anything from New Zealand. So that was a bit of a disaster, really. Maybe I was listening at the wrong time. The problem is where we stay out there in the house. There, you can't hear, interference. So you have to sit outside. And where we are, it's fairly close to the equator. So sunset there is about 6:30 in the evening, all year round. All year round, that is 6:30. Never changes. So unless you're going to sit out there, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the evening to listen, then I don't know. Perhaps I was listening at the wrong time. But anyway, that was it. What else have I been doing? Not a lot, really. When I came back home, the grass in 4 months was about a foot high. Well, probably more than that, actually, 12, 14 inches high. It took me 4 days, 4 days to cut the grass. Anyway, so that's all now sorted out. I managed to sort out the hedges and things. And that's about it, really. Anyway, so I'm waffling on here, so I'm going to put it round to the next station on the list, which is Phil. Round to you, Phil. M0PIT to take, G4IMO.
Right, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Thanks, Nick. I didn't get all your transmission. At the beginning, my Winter Hill froze, so I had to reboot that. And then during your transmission, I think there was a couple of occasions when you froze, but I think that's possibly due to somebody doubling on you. But I got most of it. Sounds as if you had a good time. One thing I didn't hear was actually where you went. But it sounds as if you had a good time and coming back to cut the grass. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. I dread cutting the grass. Oh, I've had enough of that. I actually get somebody to do it for me now. Just 2 hours, takes 2.5 hours to cut the grass. I've got better things to do in my time. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, Gary, before the net you did come up and you noted that I was, my audio sync was out. And I can tell you exactly why. It was because earlier on in the day, on my TX PC, I anything with on OBS, it can screw up the video cams, which is what it did. It basically delays the video, even though the USB stick is no longer in the machine, and that's what it does. So I basically removed the USB, booted the PC, and then went back into OBS, removed the camera and reinstalled it. Comes back perfect every time. So yeah, as soon as that happened, I thought, yeah, USB, and I forgot I got a stick in there, and I looked down and there it was sticking out the PC, and I thought, oh well, that's it. So anyhow, so that was that. What have I been up to, apart from playing around with my new 3D printer, which I'm over the moon with? Recommend it to anybody, but it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah, absolutely brilliant, so I'm happy with that. And then some of you know about my little balloon project. Well, I have an update on it. I took some photographs today. So I'm going to run through some slides extremely quickly, because most of you have seen this. But just in case, I don't think Nick has, but I should just quickly run through them. This is the project. It's a Pico, Raspberry Pi Pico with some solar cells, etc., on a balloon, and you set it off to go around the world if you're lucky. So that's the type of thing that it looks like. This is my Pico that's been built with a little transmitter. You're looking at the PA side of it, all 200 milliwatts. That there is a picture of it again. These are the experimental solar panels made up of 6 solar cells. But the latest is I've actually built it. So this is some photographs. It's actually hanging from the washing line. This is what will actually go on the balloon. So I built it today. I was very concerned about its balance, the centre of gravity, etc. And I was quite astonished because it's pretty level. So this is another picture of it from the top. You can't really see the cells as such. They should be blue, but there it is. And with the antenna that's on it, it's a grand total of 19.5 grams. So let's go back to the webcam. So yeah, so that's the project. It works. It's out there today. It's picked up the GPS signal. It transmits, and it was still transmitting when the sun went in behind the cloud. So the build for that is done. A friend of mine put some hydrogen in the balloon that we're going to be using, or balloons that we're going to be using. And it's astonishing how much lift you get with hydrogen. The one thing that we're not sure about is how much leakage we're going to get. That's still active, and I haven't seen a friend of mine who's doing the balloon side. I haven't seen him recently. But I'm hoping that we haven't lost too much hydrogen out of the balloon. Balloon is 50 inches, well, 60 inches in diameter. It's a party balloon made of mylar, so it's not spherical as such. It's sort of, I don't know, it's sort of squashed, if you know. It's just like a party balloon. But it looks as if we're in business. All I want now is confirmation from NASA of a date that we can launch. No, only joking. We haven't decided when we're going to do it. It'll probably be certainly be in the next 2 months. but effectively the final module has been built and it works, which is good news for me. So that's the update on my little balloon project. Who's next on the list? Leon. And yes, Leon, it will be using your suggestion of a supercapacitor. It will keep it running for 10 seconds on transmit with no output from the solar panels, which is absolutely brilliant. It's exactly what I want. Right then, Leon, so I'm going to hand it over to you. So I'm going to put up a test card, and then I shall kill carrier, and then it will be over to Leon.
Okay. Now, why don't I? Oh, I do have audio. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Phil. M0PIT in the group. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from ZS1 Mike in Worcester. Yeah, very interesting. And I told you you're going to have a lot of lift with that balloon. It's amazing the amount of buoyancy you get from just a small volume of hydrogen. Yes, Nick, you had some dropouts, but it was definitely somebody doubling on top of you, and they even did it on full just once or twice, which is very, very nasty. Why would somebody do that? Okay, what have I been up to? Most of this afternoon I was drawing a PC board and making the artwork for just an alarm for our new club hangar to put the planes in. They wanted to buy an alarm, and they were quoted 12,000 Rand for just a basic alarm. So I said, no, I'll build something. So yeah, I designed it, and it's working fine. A friend of mine helped me with the programming. He programs in a different level than I do. So it's working fine. So now I just want to make the PC board. I bought the box and the battery and a little supply for charging the battery and so on, and a siren and all that. And we're just going to use magnetic switches. They never fail. These passive infrared things I don't trust. And the insects, the ants especially, love to nest in them, and then you get all sorts of funny false alarms and things. What's happened to our friend in Spain, the VU man? I wonder where he is. I haven't seen him for quite some time. Right, then also I'm building another 12-volt lithium pack. I have lots of these lithium iron phosphate cells. They're all together in large banks. 15 cells to a bank. It's 3 in parallel in groups like that. 3, 3, 3, and then the stacks are in series for 200 amp hours. So these are about 70 amp hours each. I have a set in my radio room that runs my whole shack, all the HF, VHF, everything, but that's with 3 in parallel, 3, 3, 3, for a 12-volt pack. And they are really lovely. I've got lots of them, and I got them for a song, and they're very, very good. Anyway, so I want to make up another, just a small. I've got 4 of these cells now. The thing is, the straps, I have to you can't see it. These aluminium straps that connect the cells to each other, they welded on. So I cut them with a tiny little circular saw blade in the Dremel handpiece, and I have to cut them. And this particular batch, the others have got nicely spot welded copper things on them so you can solder wires on them. This doesn't have it. The whole thing was just welded together. Those, you can see the welds there. I'm at the wrong side. There you can see the welds, three per terminal. They're welded on there. How the heck they do that on a live cell, I don't know. You can't do it beforehand because they assemble the things and put these. It's about 3mm thick aluminium. So the only thing I can do now is to try and tap into it and put little lugs on and so on. But yeah, wonderful, very, very nice. Zero leakage. You can charge them up and leave them for many, many months, and maybe they'll drop 0.05 of a volt or something over 3 or 4 months, if that much. So really fantastic. So yes, I want to make a small pack for odd little portable jobs and so on. I built a pack also of 4 of those cells for my friend's radio control boat. He used to have a 18 amp hour lead acid gel battery in the thing, which is very heavy. These things are not heavy at all, and it's only 18 amp hours. Now he's a land surveyor, and we made this boat with echo sounding GPS and everything, because he has to measure the volume of the dams. And so he just puts this thing in autopilot and it crisscrosses the dam all along, slices it, and you get the whole contour, and you can quickly calculate the volume of the whole dam. But then I said to him, "No man, get rid of that lead acid thing, I'll build you a pack of these." And where he could do 1 dam on a battery, he now does 3 dams with a pack like this, and then it's not even half discharge. So yeah, it works very well. Anyway, okay, let's go over to Henri, ZS6 Mike Charlie, for the group from ZS1 Mike. And it's freezing cold here in Worcester today. It was raining just now, but it's really, really cold even inside.
Okay. Thank you very much, Leon. There we go. Thank you very much. Just make sure that I turn this down slightly. Yeah, it's good to be on the net today. I really appreciated, Gary, you keeping us all together and keeping us on our toes and not waiting for us to put our names down. Very clever you are. But anyway, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to everybody on frequency that is listening today. It really is. It has been a very interesting net so far, and yeah, nice to see you, Nick. I haven't seen you for a long time, so it's good to see you again and on the net. And yeah, you must please send us or show us pictures of the grass. You know, Nick, we've got another solution in South Africa. We just get the wild animals to come in and eat the grass. I'm only joking. So, so in any case, I know that goats and sheep love good grass. When I stayed in Portugal, there was a goat herder that used to come past the house, and I just used to see these goats get involved, and they used to eat anything and everything. They used to eat the olives, and they used to climb in the trees and get hold of these olives and eat them as well. So yes, that's what they do. And of course, our wild animals like elephants and giraffes and so on also love certain fruits that grow wild in the national parks and also in certain areas. But in any case, that's enough of that. Very interesting, Phil. Really great stuff. You've done a lot of work. I can see that. and you've obviously have collated a lot of information from Leon and from everybody else, and I think your project's going to be a great project, and it's going to go off very, very well indeed, Phil. Just let me check and see if my audio is still coming through. Yeah, okay, there we are. It's still there. Okay, so yeah, the thing is, Leon, very nice for you. You seem to be a very nice friend, Leon. I think I must come and sort of moving to your area there and live next door to you. And I'm sure that I just have to put my feelers out, and you will be there to help me. Yeah, she's, I mean, and it's very interesting what you said about this guy with the boat that goes up and down the dam and across the dam. He must take specific measurements at specific intervals and then do the calculations from that, which is really very, very interesting the way they do it. And it's a clever way of doing it indeed. Yes, just to mention, both Nick and Phil suffered from the person who came on and doubled over the guys. So I hope it doesn't happen to me. But anyway, what can one do? It's what happens ever so now and again if your settings aren't correct. Yes, Leon, the chap that you were thinking of, I think is EA7KIR. But he, I sort of went on to the BATC net the other day, not went on to it, but listened in on it, and he was there, and he's doing some really great work, and writing articles and things like that. So he's really doing some very, very good work at the present moment for the BATC. Very interesting indeed. It's a very, very clever guy. That's the impression I got. And the net, the BATC net, is a very, very technical net. There's some stuff that just flies straight over my head. But anyway, guys, I'm not going to bore you too much. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over, and I'm just going to show you very briefly what I've been busy with over this past week or two. So let's do that. I'm going to take my camera off, and I'm going to put this on, and hopefully this will come through. Okay, I hope that my audio is coming through. I'm just going to check. Please be patient with me. I'm just checking my audio. Yes, it is. So what I did was I have about 30 meters away from me, behind me, my whole shack here runs via LAN to the power amplifier and the Pluto, which sits about 30 meters away from me. So I run a LAN, a local area network, all the way down there. And then from there, I've got another switch, which is a PoE switch, which is a power over Ethernet switch. And that powers my Plutos. Yes, it powers my Plutos. The power that I've got there is 28 volts, and I can push it up to about 30 amps. But at the present moment, I'm running about 10 amps, 10 to 12 amps. And I wanted something that I could actually measure what's going on down there without having to put a camera on. So generally what I normally do is I do this. I put, hopefully it will come through. There we go. I put on my camera, and I can read what the current is and so on. So I'm really pushing the envelope a little bit today, but it's running at 31 degrees centigrade at the present moment. So that's what I've got going. But I want to actually physically measure that and see it on my PC in my shack. So let me just take that off again, and I'll just put this back on again. So that's really what I want to do. And so I got myself a little ESP. It's a little black thing sitting on the left-hand side of the white breadboard. And you can see the white cable coming into it. It's an ESP32, and it's called the ESP32 LilyGo ESP32 T7 Mini 32, and it's a version 1.5. So it actually runs Bluetooth. It runs what do you call it, Wi-Fi, and everything on this board, which is incredibly small, and very, very powerful and very functional. And then I just built a little breadboard circuitry where on the left-hand side where you see the little red LED, that's what they call ACS 712. It's actually an ammeter board. So the yellow and the white lead will take the current and it will go into that board, and that will be converted into a current which is then read via software. And that goes all the way into that ESP32. The same on the right-hand side. I've just got a little battery pack there for testing. There's another sensor, and that is a voltage sensor. So I've got a current sensor and a voltage sensor. The voltage sensor, I've modified it so that it can handle up to 30 volts, because generally when you buy them, they're only 25 volts. So I changed one of the potential divider resistors from 30 ohms to 39, from 30 kilo ohms to 39 kilo ohms, and that's what I did. So that whole little board there is all the hardware stuff, and this little silver thing in front, it looks like a bullet or an enema special, that is a temperature sensor. So that temperature sensor goes in there. So I'm measuring voltage, current, and temperature. The question that I have for everybody here is that if I measure the power, I can measure the DC power. It's very easy. It's voltage times current. But how does one measure the actual outgoing power? Do you need a power meter? Or is there a formula one can use, like 40% efficiency times by the power, that the DC power will give you more or less what the power is that's going to be transmitted out. So that is if somebody can give me some advice there, I would appreciate it. And at the back, there's a 3.7 volt lithium LiPo battery, lithium polyamide, which can keep this thing going for a long, long time. Okay, so from there, what I did was I started with the coding process, and I used Arduino IDE. And then also what I did was I used something called Cursor. And if you give Cursor the right instructions, and it's a free program, but obviously there's a limit on the amount of iterations you can do with it. So for a whole week I used Cursor, and I got it to write the full program for me, everything. So I did this program in Arduino IDE. And I'm not a software guy. I don't know much about software, but what I can tell you is that this program Cursor was absolutely magnificent. It did everything for me, and it actually gave me the results that I wanted. So you can see at the bottom, you can see I'm reading voltage, I'm reading current, I'm reading power, and I'm reading temperature. So right now the temperature in the shack is about 19 degrees. That battery pack has got a voltage of about 4.35 volts, and it's changing all the time. You can actually see it. It actually does change all the time, so it's quite phenomenal. Right, so that's what I did, and then the whole program, to be able to measure the voltage, the current, and so on. I just want to change this quickly. I hope it does. Go boy, go. Yes. It's changed. So the whole program is 528 lines long, to be able to measure voltage, current, power, and temperature. So the temperature is to measure the PA, to see how much what the temperature is on the PA. Let's carry on. Then the other program that I needed to load is something called Node-RED. Everybody you've all heard about Node-RED. So I loaded Node-RED on my PC and used that as the baseline for me to start the whole process, and to be able to read what is coming out of that ESP32, so that I can read that on a PC. So that's what I did. And this is basically the setup for Node-RED when you tell it node.-red, and then it comes up like this on the screen. Right, so after doing node red, which I need, I had to design flows. Flows are actually the software required to be able to take your telemetry that comes in. So from I use a telemetry master which is called MQTT. It's a broker, and that transmits the information to my PC, and my PC has now got this flow on board here, and the flow actually determines exactly what you are going to measure. For instance, you have got power amp voltage. This green one that I've got here is just a debug, what you call it, a flow branch. And then below that, I've got temperature, current, and power to measure it. So you use that. And then finally, you come up, and it all comes to the end when it comes into a dashboard. And so all that information that you go through your flow and so on gets graphically represented in a dashboard. And all this, as I said, everything was actually programmed for me. Obviously, there were times when it didn't give me the results I wanted, so I actually had to analyze the software a little bit. But generally, if you just give it the right, if you give this program, which is an AI program called Cursor, the right instructions, it will do everything for you. It is phenomenal, really, really phenomenal. So yes, so that's what I did. And let me see if there's anything else that. What I can also mention is that the platform. Let me go back to my camera. Okay, just going back to my camera. Hopefully it will come back now. Okay, it's starting up. Just be patient with me. My camera hasn't come on yet. Okay, there we go. So I'm back on the camera, so you can see it. And the other thing is, when I spoke to some of the experts in the programming field, they say that Arduino IDE is good to use, but they also recommend a program called Platform IO. Apparently, that's even more clever than Arduino IDE, and far more easy to use. So yes, that's it. Just a comment from my side. It's 18 degrees outside. Well, 16 degrees outside now, and it's 20 degrees in the shack. Yes, it's getting quite cold here in Johannesburg. This time of night, it really starts getting very, very cold. So that's what I've been busy with over the past 2 weeks, and I've really had such great fun because, as I said, I'm not a software guy. I'm a hardware guy. I like getting my hands dirty. I like drilling holes, things like that. But this has really given me the opportunity to learn something completely different. So next steps from here, this is the basics. Now I'm going to connect it up to voltage and current, large voltages and large currents, and then see what I can get out. But if there's anybody that can give me advice with regards to how I convert DC power to actually RF power without having to go through putting in a power meter, RF power meter, I would appreciate it very much. I really would. So that's my story, guys. Thank you very, very much. And I'm going to now hand it over. Sorry I took so long. G0AZQ. I'm going to hand it to you, Tony. And it's nice to meet you, and nice to know Benno is also on now. So here we go.
Because he didn't actually log himself. So I might have taken a bit of a gap there. So the next on the list, if Tony doesn't come back, G0AZQ, who had a nice signal, then it'll be Benno. And you must never talk about a guy, Leon, You sure he's listening? And that's Michael, Echo Alpha 7 KIR, who always does phenomenal work, a real original thinker. And he's on as well. So that's going to be great to hear what he's got to say. So I will comment after Michael's had his turn. But let's bring in Benno if Tony doesn't take it. Papa Alpha 3, Fox Bravo X-ray from ZS6YI. Maybe Tony comes in after all.
That was not prepared. Thanks. Let's put my headset on. Not even my screen is straight. Okay. This is a little bit, and that's a lot of noise coming from a different source. Sorry, guys. Hi, Gary. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me on the net. And great copy, everyone. Besides the doubling of the first two, but it seems that the signal is gone, so that is solved. Yeah, lots of news, lots of nice projects. I always am astonished about the combined knowledge of the group we produce every week. There are so many ideas, so many good things going on, and everyone is doing on his own experience a lot of good ideas and a lot of work there. To comment on some items, Phil, your balloon. Nice project. I'm looking forward. It will probably pass Holland, and yeah, I'm very. I will try to track it some way, and maybe you can tell us the frequency, which band you're using. Probably some some HF band, but if I look at the antenna, that could be also on VHF. Phil. Okay, so that is something I wonder, and yeah, two questions I have on the balloon. I know there is a possibility that you. Let me turn down a little bit this. That there is the possibility that you inflate a balloon and it will go up and it will raise and it will go through thinner air, and somewhere along the line it will be so thin air, go high, that it will stop, or it will, well, the balloon itself will grow and grow and grow, and in the end there's no external atmosphere causing the balloon to blow, and then it will descend again, normally on a parachute. And I wonder if those things are also incorporated in your project. I also know that you can send the balloon around the Earth as Tom did last year, and it went around the Earth a few times on the same hemisphere. And because this one will then be the northern hemisphere, well, I would like to see if I'm capable to track some passes. It probably also will be displayed on somewhere on a website where it is, the receptions. If I don't know if you have something in place like Tom had last year, you can follow it actually on a website where it is at the moment, and what the last 24 hours or so was. I know there is a balloon group who's doing all that job for you, and I also know that, well, I wonder how that works. How can you stop it ascending? Because it will go up, 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 up as long as there is a lift, and somewhere along the line it should stabilize and stay at that height. And I wonder how they calculate and how that project works, and I don't know if you're involved in that part as well. Let me put some more oil on the fire. I see my signal was not that strong. So that's one question I have, and I hope you're insured, because I also know that occasionally a balloon gets trapped into some power lines and creating a big issue there, and even 19 grams coming from free fall at 10K. I can imagine it can do some damage on the floor. So I assume that's also covered in the general idea. In the end, they probably are able to track the hardware back to the guys who put it on the balloon. So that's the question. Nick, yeah, nice to have you back. I can imagine a nice travel and a lot of sightseeing, and we will see some pictures in the near future. Leon, yeah, batteries packing together. Well, those are very nice battery packs. And I always think I can do a better job with building stuff I have never been experienced with. But I can imagine, well, at least a burglar cannot identify your hardware. But I also think you need something calling to somewhere, because even sirens, which are nice, obviously, if someone, well, if you're not in the neighborhood, as probably your area is, I can imagine that the siren will sound, and nobody will look, because nobody will hear it. So I think you need some kind of calling device or transmitting transmitter. Maybe transmit it on somewhere where you can receive it again, being able to determine a detection. Okay, Frank, yeah, nice project. Also, something I have done, well, in 2-3 years ago. Well, first of all, I can show you this item. Let me see if I can show you that. And that is basically the item which is from AliExpress, which is an AD8361, which is basically a detector detecting power from 0.1 megahertz to 2.4 gigahertz, and they even go up to 6 or 10 gig. And well, basically you put power on there, 5 volts or 5 volts on there, and then a RF signal on the SMA, and you get some kind of voltage out of the connection, and that's basically the heart or the detecting part of all the power meters which are on AliExpress. So basically this is the general idea, and then you need to convert that to something you can use. Obviously this will take up to, I think, 10 milliwatts. So you need to convert your power, your, what is it, 20, 30, 40 watts, 100 watts to 10 milliwatts, and you do that by how do you call those? I didn't produce those pictures, but you have that. Stupid! I have bunches of them. Let's go back to my picture. One of those, I cannot tell you the English names, but you can use up to 50 dB attenuation between the feeding or pass-through and this one output. If you put 50 dB attenuation, you're quickly down to this 10 milliwatts, which is the max of this detector. So that's an easy answer. Then on your project itself, a few things. Well, first of all, a project I followed Tom with over 2-3 years ago. Tom ZS6TG. Basically, I'm using a Raspberry, and a Raspberry can use for multiple purposes. First of all, your first problem is the network connection side of your Pluto, which you probably solved with a network dongle, but you can also use a Raspberry and use port forward in there. Basically connect the Pluto to your Raspberry, and then use port forwarding to do the signal from the UTP to the Raspberry. And then on the Raspberry you can also load Node-RED and do all the sensor detecting directly on the GPIO ports. And then you have this nice screen on your computer which shows you exactly all the values, and it's also it's in Node-RED, which runs on the Raspberry. Well, it's a bit of overkill. If you like a simple solution, another idea is what is incorporated in the DATV Easy. You probably know DATV Easy, and can I increase that a little bit? No, I can't. Yes, I can. So in DATV Easy, there is this monitoring part where you use an Arduino, and it shows you exactly all the values you need normally for your power stage. In DATV Easy, it is even documented in the folder which you use for installing it, what you need to install on your your Arduino. So many options, so many ideas, and I think yours will be equally good. So that's what I wanted to show you, that it was available, and the road you are following is another road. And I think the best thing is you will learn a lot of stuff you didn't know you need to before that. And now is my camera gone again? Where is it? So that's what I wanted to comment on. I don't think I'm going to add anything today on my projects, because also those are a completely different way, and I know someone will tell me, yeah, there's another way as well. Michael, another guy who has so many ideas and is following always his own path to some part. He well, he probably doesn't know. He didn't know he wanted to get that knowledge. Michael, EA7, and now I need some part. EA7 KIR from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray. See, I have a test card. Yes, I have. Passing it on to you, Michael.
Yes, we're here, yes. Okay, thank you all. Yeah, blame Leon for this. I'm here. Yeah, I do watch occasionally, actually, and the same with the Thursday night, the BATC one. I don't go on all the time. I think I get boring after a bit, so I try not to go there too often, and I have a habit of upsetting people sometimes when I veer towards the political, which you mustn't do. So I won't do that today because it's Sunday. Yeah, a few things. I'll tell you what I've been doing, but just a few comments first. Firstly, I was getting quite excited about the balloon idea until Leon described it pessimistically, and it sounds a bit dicey, doesn't it? You know, blowing up power lines and dropping things on populated areas and things like that, and then the alarms as well. Yeah, difficult. I don't think I'll try that one. But it sounds exciting, and I do remember watching a video that what's she called? The woman that wrote Longmind. My memory lets me go. Heather. That's her name. And she was, I don't know if she still is, but she certainly was into balloons. And if you search YouTube, you'll find some interesting videos where they chased them around the countryside, you know, cars, a bit like a car rally going around, DFing these balloons and trying to catch it, you know, when it comes down in a farmer's field somewhere and upsets the cows. So that was quite fun. So you could watch that if you want. You probably have done, actually. That's probably why you got into it, Phil. I don't know. The doubling. Yeah, I think there's two reasons for doubling. One is accidentally. You accidentally press the button and you haven't tuned, and you suddenly realise and you take it off again. But I think the main reason is that a lot of people just don't log into the website, you know, and look at the spectrum, or indeed log into the chat, so that people can tell them. You know, there's a lot of people just don't log in to the chat. So if they're not on the chat, they're presumably not watching the spectrum either. And that I find that a little bit annoying, because sometimes you'd like to make a comment to them, like "Hi," you know, and they're not there. They're not on the chat. It should be a rule. It should be, but we don't have rules like that. Yeah, I'm just going through this horrible little list I made randomly. Somebody said that I'm very clever and I write articles for BATC CQTV magazine. Well, no, I'm not either. Actually, I'm not clever. I fumble, and I don't write articles. I think I might have written one article a few years ago. I'm constantly being encouraged to write an article about the things I'm doing, but the truth is I'm not very good at writing, even on a word processor. I'm the guy that didn't go to university, and the one thing that people do get out of university, even if they don't actually learn anything, which is quite normal for most people that come out of university, is they do learn how to write reports and format a document. You know, structure is the word I'm looking for, and I've never learned that. Plus the fact the job I had, which was broadcast TV in England, I was operational. You know, I was an operational engineer, sound engineer actually, most of the time. Although I have my fingers in everything, and it didn't involve writing. I'd never had to write anything. You see. You know, I could read a script. I could read music at one time because I did a lot of music recording, but I never actually wrote anything, especially music. So I don't know who said that, but regarding clever, no, I'm not. I'm just adventurous, and I try my best. And right now, for example, I'm messing around with one of these things again, which is an Arduino Nano Every. I chose this one because it's the cheapest one there is, and I used one of those in my what was it? Where's the camera? I'll show you while I try and think of what it's called. It's called a number 2. This is it. This is my audio monitoring thing. It measures loudness units. So on this side you've got the transmitter. That's what's going out. That's my microphone on this side, and that's coming back on the receiver. And as you can see, they are the same. Obviously the time lag between the two because of the latency going up to the satellite and back. And then you've got 3 little buttons here. You can switch it from auto to not auto. Little buttons. Now it'll howl around. You see, if I do that. And it auto mutes. So when it's in the auto thing, it mutes the speakers. So I don't have to press a button. And of course we've got a volume control. So that project's got one of these Arduino things in. But I built that last year, I think. And now I'm trying to do something else on one of these nano things, and I can't remember anything. I'm having to learn it all over again. And the problem is, I'm pretty much into the Go language called Go, or Golang if you prefer. And of course the Arduino uses C. And one of the big differences between the two is C insists that you have a stupid little semicolon after every line, which seems absolutely utterly redundant. Because in Go it is redundant. You don't put a colon on, and so I keep forgetting, and it won't compile. I think, what have I done now? What have I done now? Oh, it's a blooming colon again. Gee, semicolon, all over the place. Ridiculous. So I'm struggling with that. And yeah, Henry was talking about this, and he also mentioned that he mentioned Platform I/O. Well, as a matter of fact, I've used Platform I/O when I wrote one of the early sound meters. I made a PPM on a LilyGo thing. You might remember that. I did show it at the time. And I did that on Platform I/O because that's an ESP board. And at that time, I don't think the Arduino IDE supported that. But Platform I/O did. And yeah, it was really, really good. So I downloaded it today because I thought I'd prefer to use that than the Arduino IDE. And I can't even get started with it. You know, I mean, I've installed it. Well, at least I've installed a plugin. But where you go from there is it's blowing my brains out at the moment. And yet I've done it before. It's really annoying. So no, I'm not clever. But I'll persevere because it is a better editor, actually. Arduino IDE is quite frustrating at times. Plus, I'm hoping, I mean, they mentioned on the Platform IDE documentation, they mentioned the word remote. Now, I don't know what they mean by that exactly, but what I'm hoping they mean is that I can have the IDE on my Mac in front of me and the actual source code and this thing plugged into the Unix box over here, which is the ultimate where I want it, you see, because I'm written the other half of this software. So it's JSON actually. So this is doing what you know, measuring power and voltage and all that nonsense, or it will be, and then it transmits on JSON over to not Node.js but JSON. I mean, you could use that. You could use anything really. But you've got to write both ends, haven't you? So I've written that the end of the Unix end. That was easy because it's in Go. Very easy. Doing it in this is something else. But I want to do it so that it's always plugged in there so that I can run the repeater software, which is going to talk to this. Actually, I've got a repeater software. I've got a beacon software. And I've got what I call a station software, which is a transceiver. And all three are being developed concurrently. But right at the moment, I'm concentrating on the beacon one, because that's, somebody mentioned they wanted a beacon the other day, and now it turns out they don't. I got distracted with that. So that's that. I could just say a few words on power meters. I don't have one. I'd like one, but I don't get it, actually. I don't get it, because if all you're interested in is how much power your power amplifier's putting out, which is what that thing that Benno was showing does, fine. Well, if you know the efficiency of your power amplifier, and you could probably guess it, you know, it's probably 60% or 50%, just multiply volts times amps and halve it. You know, that's going to give you more or less the same result, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. What you really want to know is what you're actually stuffing out into the atmosphere, or rather the ether. Is that called effective radio power, ERP, something like that? I'm not an RF expert, but so I suppose if you knew the gain of the antenna, then you could measure, you could calculate volts times amps degraded by the efficiency of the power amplifier, and then multiply it by the gain of the antenna. And maybe then, but would it be correct? At the end of the day, you're going to need professional equipment to calibrate it. And if you've got professional equipment, why build something? You've already got it. So to me, the whole journey is a bit of a waste of time, so I'm not even trying it. But I'm just a pessimist. You know, just tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. So that's it from me. As I say, I keep telling people I'm building a repeater, but I'm really stuck actually. I get it half working, but then I get stuck on one particular issue, and then I get sidetracked. That's how I got sidetracked onto building a beacon, and then I got sidetracked onto something else. And right now I'm sidetracked also onto a NAS, network attached storage device, which apparently everyone on the planet has except me. So I bought one. It's one of these Ugreen things, very popular apparently. Rave reviews. But the problem with all these rave reviews, these are people that probably haven't a clue what they're doing. And I tend to take it, well, they must be good, but I bought the thing, and after 2 days of first of all, it takes nearly a day to format the discs. Well, you don't have to watch it, of course. And then it takes another day. I just went straight into it, you see. And I copied 10 terabytes of data onto it from the Mac over SMB, Samba, I think that's called, isn't it? Direct onto it. That took a day, well, about 20 hours, I think. And I thought, all right, yeah, that's really, really good. So I thought, okay, well, let's try pulling it back again. You know, not all of it, just a few. And that worked. And then I looked at the file permissions, and they've changed. So it's not a backup at all, because it doesn't give you back what you gave it. So you gave it with read-write permissions for the owner only. In other words, 600 in octal, or XX. Is it RWX blank 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 in POSIX terms? That's a technical term. And it comes back with read-write permissions for everyone. Now that's not secure, and they say it's secure. How can it be secure when it's got read-write permissions for everyone? Everyone, including root, of course. So anyone who hacks into that thing, despite what they say, can take it away, can't they? So I put in I messed around with it a bit, and I thought, no, I get onto support, and there's a button. So I pressed the button, and I put in a support request, and I just said, I gave them details, you know, almost a screenshot actually of the permissions going and coming back and things, and I got a response within a day. And it then gave me a list of things that they wanted me to do, and that include just about everything, the kitchen sink, including, could I make a video? Oh, for goodness sake. So I sat on that for a couple of days now, thinking about it, and I thought, no, I'm not doing this. So I wrote back to them again. I said, look, I bought this thing because you said it's easy to use. I don't have the patience to debug your products. Come up with a solution, or I'll just send the whole thing back. So I got a reply within a minute to that one, and they said, okay, just send us the log report, the log, and they told me exactly how to do that. So I did that, and I got a reply instantly, and they said, thank you, we've forwarded that to R&D, and we'll get back to you. Now that was 4 days ago. So I'm wondering, am I wasting my time here? I don't know, because I don't see the point in having something that doesn't give you back what you put on. That's the whole point, isn't it? That is the whole point. So I don't know. I mean, maybe there are options with this thing. It comes with the operating system that Ugreen supply, which doesn't get rave reviews. You could also put something called TrueNAS on it or Unraid on it, which is an option, but maybe they do the same thing as well. I don't know. And the problem is, how do you find this out? Because if I search Google, or DuckDuck in my case, tell me about file permissions, not login permissions, such as who can access the device, you know, who can actually log in and who can't, who can share, who can't. Those are permissions as well. I'm not talking about those permissions. I'm talking about the actual file permissions. And I can't find anything. So nobody's mentioning this. So either everybody's oblivious to this going on, or there's a problem with my setup, which could well be the case. Anyhow, enough of that. It's back to Gary. It's back to Gary, isn't it? So over to you, Gary. And I can't remember your call sign. No, yes, I can, because I can read it. ZS6YI from EA7KI. Over to you, Gary.
Okay, let me just turn down some power because there's fewer people on. Oh, very good there, Michael. Yeah, it's been an interesting net, and I concur with Henry. You are clever and you have written good articles. So there we go. Nick, nice to see you back home. And yeah, the petrol price has gone crazy all over. I think it's now 32 days we've had no electricity at 3 of my factories. So I've been running generators, big 500 kVA is the one, or 525 kVA, and another, I think, 200 kVA. So it's costing around about £3,500 per day just for diesel. And I'm only running one shift because I'm not going to run 2 shifts at that price. So that's bad. And of course the prices went up like hell and then came down a fraction, but nothing much. But anyway, good to see you back. And noted on no reception, no hams on the lower frequencies. I think most of them are blocked out by the LED boys that's got nice lighting and so forth. Phil, excellent on the balloon, on the Pico. Looks great, and I'm sure it's going to work very well. And yeah, Michael, those Pico balloons go up quite high, and they also travel around the world 2-3 times like Tom's did. And they send out information which you could pick up on 20 meters, and there's even a website that's tracking it for you. Leon, yeah, nice on those cell packs, excellent. And nice and light, and I'm pleased you're making some more. You're lucky to get those things. And I'll be showing Henry in a minute something that I got from you. So Henry, you want to know how to measure the power. Now what I would do, this is something, let me just get my focusing correct here. This is a professional power meter, power head. So what happens is you put your RF through there. You have a 30 dB. This is now a directional coupler to your antenna. RF comes in. You've got and this one particularly has a 30 dB attenuation down to the power head. The power head actually heats up, and you've got electrical cables that now go into a very sensitive meter, and you've got different ranges, and you can. It's being calibrated. You calibrate it down at the bottom, so you never touch that. And then you can read the power to the dot. Really very nice, nice unit. So now what I suggest is we take the power meter up to your place. You don't know what your amplifier inefficiency is, or efficiency, call it whichever way you want to. So what we do, we calibrate at so many amps. That's your output power to the antenna. And you've got the gain of your dish if you want to work out the effective radiated power. That's easy. And you make a little truth table. So if you are reading in your program X amount of amps at that voltage, you now know, you've calibrated it, you know it's so many watts. And Michael has a point, who really needs to know how many watts. It's a nice to know, but it's not mandatory. But it's nice to know, especially if you're repairing something, then it's great, like an amp or so. So I'd make a little truth table, and once you read that power, it then kicks out what it's supposed to be, what it's measured. And you can also couple temperature to that as well, because your temperature on your amp can also play a havoc with its output power. Let me see, my temperature is 19.7 degrees on the finals, and I'm running 4.5 amps, so not much power, about 8 or so watts, I think it was, going out, 24 volt amp. But anyway, so that's what you can do, knock up a little truth table, and then you can be very accurate in any case. Or you get something like Benno said, but I've burnt those things out like nothing. Got a beautiful one. It's all self-contained, but you can't put more than a flea power in there. I think about 0 milliwatt. And then you pop them, so you have to go through attenuators anyway. But the right way is with the TFT power meter. Very, very nice. You can't get these things anymore, unfortunately. So, dare I say, what else is there to comment on? Yeah, Tony didn't come up. Benno, yeah, no, you also do many, many nice projects, and nice dashboard you got showing there. And so is Henry's work. Excellent, Henry. From starting from 0, you progressed very rapidly into the upper surfaces. So, well done. And yeah, Michael, always good to see and hear you. Always great audio and picture, of course. And yeah, one mustn't get sidetracked, and it's so easy to get sidetracked. Yeah, I haven't done much ham radio this week, but what I did do, many years ago, 1996, I bought a Land Rover, a Discovery. And how that happened is my son was busy putting in a boat through a very steep slipway, and he was driving a big tractor, but he was only 12 years old, 13 years old, and he just didn't have the muscle to put on the brakes, and this boat started to run away. But he used his head, and he quickly turned the wheel, and the boat jackknifed, and it came within, I tell you, a foot from the edge of the boathouse, and would have destroyed the boat. He didn't stall the tractor. He put it back into first gear. He couldn't even change gears while it was running. It's a tractor. And he pulled out the boat, and he says, "Dad, I don't think we are supposed to be boating today." Anyway, he pulled it up and took it up to the boathouse, and I walked behind him. I thought, no, it's not fair, such a young guy. And he's got this tractor. There's no power steering, no power brakes on that particular unit. So I said, come, let's go down the road. A friend of mine owns the Land Rover agency, and he had just received a big truck full of Land Rovers and Discoveries and different vehicles. He was also the agent for Jaguar. So I saw this little thing. I said, listen, has that got power steering, power brakes, and do you think it'll put my big boat in? It's a 26-foot boat. He says, yeah, it will. I said, take it down. And his son went with little Quentin to the house. It had a hitch on as well. Lovely bull bar in front, spots, and a worn winch, everything, full house. So we took it down to the river, and 3 times in a row, he pulled the boat in, took it out. That was Quentin now, and he loved this thing. So I said, okay. Phoned had his dad. I said, how much you want for it? Told me, gave them the check. I said, Quentin, take Harry back, and then come back with the thing. No license or anything. Anyway, he did. And so that little Discovery did maybe 20 miles in about 5 years. Anyway, 4 years. And then Quentin went to high school, and I let him drive it around all over. But then, after he had passed away, he never put the boat in. And one of my employees started to slowly strip everything. He stripped the bumper off with the winch, the windscreen wipers. He did a whole lot of damage, man. Swiped the radio. And I know it's him because we caught him stealing batteries from a brand new generator we put in. Anyway, so now Leslie wants to drive this Land Rover. The wheels were flat, so we got it fixed up this week. I sent it to a chap that's well qualified, and he's got it going very nicely. Nothing wrong with the thing. The thing, after since 1996 till now, has only done 53,000 kilometers, about 35,000 miles. So it's brand new. Anyway, I got a Pucker Land Rover bumper, but it hasn't got the bull bar, so I'm a bit annoyed about that. You can't get them. Oh, the doors. He even stole the bloody doors and the mirrors. Can you believe? All that's gone. So I'm slowly having to rebuild that. I just want it safe, But anyway, so Leslie's been spending Friday afternoon today and yesterday driving around the garden. Yeah, I've got a big garden, so you can drive. But I said to my wife, just like with Quentin, it's not going to be long, and this garden's going to be too small. But he was having fun with this all weekend, and I was having fun watching him and taking videos. So that's what I did. Not ham radio related, but Matthias came up on Facebook, a DD1 US. Actually, I spoke to him yesterday on narrowband, and he said, must put a HF radio in there because little Leslie, he's also now got his novice call sign, ZU6IY. I said, no, I don't want anything to distract him at this point. There's too many trees. He's got to dodge through the trees. So let him first get that right. But anyway, it was a good leg pull. Long over nothing actually. But anyway, it was good fun while it lasted. Right. So back to you. And then I'm going to make this my final. And back to you, Nick. G4IMO. After a lovely holiday from ZS6 Yankee, India. Why didn't it switch off? Oh, I know. I've got
Okay. I think it's working. Make sure I've got some audio here. Okay. Yeah, turn that down. Yeah, okay, Gary, thanks for that. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting you didn't switch off. Yeah, I came into my shack, and because I haven't used this equipment for 4 months, I couldn't remember how to operate it. So, yeah. Oh, and the other thing I did today, I came into the shack and got it all set up at 1 hour earlier, at 3 o'clock, not realizing that the net was at 4 o'clock. So anyway, that's probably old age, that is. Anyway, okay, well, I'm going to disappear, I think. Thanks for everybody for coming on. It's been very interesting. And Phil, yeah, sorry for my my interruption in my transmission, but as everybody said, there was somebody transmitting on top of me. Hopefully they're not now. I'm just checking my monitor there. Yeah, we went to the Philippines, Phil. And while we were there, we hopped over to Hong Kong. And while we were there, we went to Macau. And interesting enough, there is a road bridge that connects Hong Kong to Macau, and it is 34 miles long. Right, and with that, I'm going to disappear. So I'll say 73, and I'll see everybody next time. Put my test card on here. This is G4IMO.
All right, thanks, Nick. The Philippines, oh, that's where you went. Very nice too. 4 months, wow. It's a long time away. Nor do I understand why the grass was so long. Yeah, Gary, yeah, interesting story. You always got some lovely stories. They're always interesting. Yeah, driving at that age, yeah. I think I started driving when I was about, I don't know, about 14, I think, on a dumper truck on a building site, but that's another story. Right, I'm not going to stay too long. I'm suffering with hay fever. My eyes are driving me absolutely balmy. Back of my mouth is very itchy as well, so I should just do a quick over and then I shall basically disappear. Answer Henry. I mean, I use an Arduino, and the Arduino is acting like a web server, and I just connect to it via a browser, and it displays everything that I want: current, temperature, wattage, etc., etc. And as for the output power, well, it's just nice to have. It's not very relevant, but I do use an AD8313 and a directional coupler, which is very similar to what other people use. I'm more interested in how many amps my PA is taking. At the end of the day, I mean, you're governed by the output, your output level in comparison to the beacon. That's what the spec says. And that's what I go on. So I roughly know that when I'm pushing about 8.5 amps, I know that I'm just under the beacon, and that's basically what I do. Even though I do have an indication there, which is telling me that it's about 20 watts, but it's not very relevant, to be quite honest. Anyhow, so that's that. Benno, I put a website up on the chat, and it explains all. I should be using 20 meter band, and it's in the Whisper allocation, but all the information is on that website. It's a one-way trip. You can't really put a parachute on it because you're governed by weight and size and everything else. I do not expect to see, once it leaves my hands, I do not expect to see it again. And it's not a lot of money, you know. And as for the balloon, you don't fill the balloon up. There's no need to fill it up. You just want sufficient gas to give you 7 grams of free lift. You don't want to fill it up. There's no reason to fill it up. All you want is for the thing it's basically to go up. So it's, you know, it's a buoyancy. You have a certain amount of gas in there and that will be buoyant, so it'll be there. And then you just want another 7 grams of lift, and off you go. So there should be plenty of expansion in the balloon, and it will probably sit, if I'm lucky, at about 40,000 feet at minus whatever it is, 40/60 degrees. Anyhow, that's the project. And if it fell out of the sky, well, to be quite honest, if you throw a pico at somebody, a pico weighs, I think my memory, is it about 11 grams? I think the pico, I think it's about 11 grams, might be less than that. You know, you have a hard job to throw it at somebody. It's, no. I mean, even the solar cells, or the solar panel, yes, you can do it like a frisbee, and it would go, but if it fell out of the sky, I mean, it wouldn't do any damage at all. And if it went into a jet engine, it would have no effect on it, very little effect. The chances of that happening are very remote. So falling out of the sky wouldn't hurt anybody. If it went on a power line, well, you'd be stupid to launch anything like that near a power line. Absolutely stupid. You know. So yeah, you launch it nowhere near power lines, and you're in an area where there are no trees, power lines, poles or whatever. So it's got sufficient time to go up before there is anything near, you know, height-wise. So yeah, anyhow, that's the plan. Yeah. So we're not, I mean, other people have done it. I'd be lucky if I get from the UK into Europe. If I get into Europe, I'll be really chuffed, because it's such a difficult thing to do. And I don't expect it to ever see it again. It'd be nice, but I don't think I will. Anyhow, that's enough for me. My eyes are driving me mad. My back of my mouth is driving me mad as well. So I think I shall put a test card up and kill carrier. So Leon is next on the list. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Leon. I won't be staying very long because, as I say, I'm suffering at the moment. Let's put a test card up. Oh, she is.
Okay, thanks, Phil. M0PIT and the group. That is one Mike returning. Yes, okay, firstly, from the top, Gary, yes. Yeah. You told me about this guy who was robbing you all your batteries and things, but I didn't know about the Land Rover, that he was actually dismantling that and carrying it off. Gee whiz, hey? Oh man. Right, Nick, yeah, okay, the doubling, it's actually an answer to Michael, and I gave the same answer last week to somebody. Why don't I log in? Because I use scan and tune. That Frenchman there, F6DZP, the most brilliant guy I've ever heard of. Because you have everything in front of you. The spectrum, that's why I could immediately see when somebody was doubling with Nick. I can receive my own picture, I monitor my own picture, I can see what's going on the whole spectrum. I refuse to go onto the internet when I'm doing ham radio, because then we may as well be having a Zoom meeting here. It must stand on its own legs, and that's the way I run it. It's two computers, but it's totally off the net. And I had a case this morning. I was talking to a fella. We have a whole chain of repeaters on 2 meters with UHF backbones, and a distant guy at Mossel Bay, I think he was mobile, was talking to me, and he was asking me for a report. And he just while he was still talking, a local guy came up, also mobile, and just blotted him out. I said, hey, no, you can't do that. Don't you listen before you transmit? And then he comes, he said, oh, sorry, the volume was closed. Well, then you didn't monitor before you transmitted. So, gee whiz, man, some people. Anyway, so that's why I don't log into the chat. Because this thing must show, I can see who's on and you know what my transmission is. My power is running a bit high now, I must say. What's happening? Let me take it down a little bit, just a touch. 14.4. That should be better. I shouldn't be running D6. That's too much. Okay. Right. Phil, yes. And by the way, I didn't make the negative comments on the balloon. That was Benno. Right, Henry. Okay, you've had lots of answers now. Firstly, you need a directional coupler that Benno showed there, and also Gary. And then if you want the actual value with modulation, then you need a calorific power meter like Gary was showing there. Those little detector modules only work, or let's say they're only correct when there's just a clean carrier, no modulation on it, because it just measures voltage, and as your bandwidth increases, the voltage drops, because you're getting, but the total power, the calorific power, stays the same. So yeah, but me also, I don't care what, I can monitor it here. I have a 6 amp fuse in my amplifier. So if I exceed 6 amps, I don't get near it. I'm probably also running 3 or 4 amps like Gary, because we've got similar sized dishes, 2.4 meter dishes. The voltage is fixed. It's regulated power supply. So I couldn't care about the temperature. I know I've got more than enough ventilation on the amplifier. So there's no reason to monitor it. But anyway, Henry, okay, so you know you need a directional coupler and a pickup probe. So I have a much simpler solution to monitor things if I want to. A friend of mine at work, ex-colleague, he's also retired now, he wrote me, he's very clever with programming and other things. He wrote me a nice little program with 6 gauges, 6 dials, 6 gauges. It runs on a PC. You just load this little program, and it receives data through the serial port RS-232, or you can obviously have it via USB with a RS-232 converter. And then we use a normal PIC 16F877, the big one. That's got lots of analog ports. He also wrote me a little program for that. So I have 8 channels of data, and the output of that that pick. That's at the remote site. I feed it comes out as RS232 data, and I can switch it between 1200 baud or 196 or whatever, 9600. So I can, via any audio line, or 2 meters, HF even at 1200 baud. I don't need any networks or anything, and I can monitor eight values, and it comes up nicely as dials. You can scale them, you can put offsets, everything on the receive software. Very simple. And the only thing that you have to buy is a 877, PIC 877 TCM 3105 chip, one for the remote side and one for the receiving side, and off you go. And it's all real time. Anyway, as I say, I'd rather monitor all sorts of other things, but not what's going out there. I know it works. I can see it here. It's working. Okay. Yes, Benno, the the alarm. No, we have about 100 hangars at our airfield. Yes, it's very popular. There's lots and lots and lots of aircraft. So we have 24-hour guards walking around the place, and they'll immediately hear if there's a siren going off and the LEDs are flashing. So you need a very, very basic alarm just to draw their attention, and they'll go and have a look at what's going on there. Yeah, that's about it. Michael, very, very nice to see you again. You always have lots of interesting, very, very interesting projects and things way above my head with all your computing stuff. And I've heard of Unix, but that's all. I know nothing about it. But yeah, I have sympathized with you. Today I play a little bit with Arduino programming, and then the next day I do a bit of PIC programming, and then I go back to Arduino, and now it doesn't want to work. What's going on? That's a semicolon. You don't need that in PIC. So yes, I know what you're talking about. What I do, especially with the Arduino nowadays, if I finally manage to get a program to work, then I print it. I actually make a paper copy of it. I print the thing. So when I want to do something else, I can go back and say, how did I do this? Oh yeah, that's the for next statement or whatever. So yeah, because I'm not a programmer, not nearly a programmer. Okay, right. That's it from me. I say cheerio, 73s. Have a nice day. By the way, I checked the temperature outside. It was 9.9 degrees. And here now in the in the room, let me see. It's 14.7 degrees. So it's quite cool here. Right, Henry, over to you. ZS6 Mike Charlie for the group from ZS1 Mike.
Okay, great stuff. That was a very relaxing. That was a very relaxing. Let me get my audio off. There we go. All right, so that was a very relaxing afternoon, listening to everybody, listening to what everybody has to say, and really very, very interesting from all sides. Let me just make two comments, and then I'm going to run, because I think my XYL is really chomping at the bit there. So still got to have supper. So Michael, to you. Michael, take the kudos, my friend. Take the kudos. Don't worry about it. You're doing great work there, and you're doing things very, very nicely. From Leon, from my perspective, to me, the reason why I do these things is so that I can keep my brain active. I want those synapses to be able to connect with one another all the time. And that's why I do it. Whether it's going to work or not, or whether it's going to be successful in me implementing it 100% or not, yes. As a matter of interest, I do have a directional coupler here. In fact, I have two. So I can use the one for that specific task that you mentioned. Yes, I don't know whether I will use what Benno recommended, because it's actually, my directional coupler is a 30 dB coupler. I can actually put two in tandem with one another, and I can get 60 dB down. And that would actually do the trick, I think. I have one of those Chinese little power meters that you can connect up, and I think one can just make a plan in getting the output into some form of a measuring tool. But I'll just have to see what it is. I think it was Michael or somebody said, just take it and multiply it by the efficiency of your amplifier, multiply it by the efficiency of your dish, and finally you can come to some consideration and some kind of output measured. So enough from me. Thank you very much. Nice to see you, Nick. Nice to see you, Phil. Good luck there with your balloon. I'm sure it's going to go very, very well. And good luck to you, Benno. Thanks a lot for your input. Much appreciated. And Michael and Leon, thank you very much for your input as well. And Michael, from my side, good afternoon. And Gary, once again, thank you so much for keeping this whole lot going. Really appreciate it, and I hope you come right with your Land Rover Discovery and that you get it up to the point that you wanted to operate at. Okay, cheers guys, Best 73, and you have a great afternoon, and we'll speak again. Cheers for now. Bye-bye. Gary, over to you.
I thought I was next, missing Tony. Sorry, Frank. Yeah, so many ideas, and that's all what it's all about. And to comment on what Michael said, just to measure the current. Well, why measure anything if you look at your signal coming back and it's not higher than the beacon? Probably it's sufficient, Michael. So I don't measure current, I don't measure voltage anymore. I just have one LED showing that some kind of power is going to my amplifier, and I watch the feedback on the beacon, on the wideband. I get check the feedback, and yeah, I know my signal is there, and I give everyone a chance to give me some feedback as well, which is good for things like Phil did on a website, or people helping me that it's a coupler, yes, directional coupler. But Frank, yeah, if you build something like a meter inside, I think you need at least two meters, two directional couplers, to also get the feedback, so you don't, there is not a spider in between your potty feed or any other outside defect which took out your antenna. and you won't blow up your amplifier. And basically that's the whole idea of measuring. I think you want to measure and double check nothing happened in between. You installed it and you're using it. And yeah, I think maybe even build a siren on there that you don't have to watch all the data, because after I'm 100% sure after a few weeks watching all the data coming back and it's always the same, you don't watch it again. So I have had an idea of creating some measurements on my desk, so hardware measurements, showing me the data of the amplifier, because I have 6 screens in front of me, and none of them is showing me anything on my amplifier. So much other things I want to check. Yeah, I have that screen, it works, but I hardly look at it, only if I have a problem. And that's the next reason why you want to measure and bring it back to your shack, especially if it's somewhere way outside, and you want to be able to check if things outside go as they should do. So do not measure only the power out, measure the feedback as well, Frank, and continue with your idea. And I think it's a great way to keep up with all the technology if you play with it the way you're doing. And yeah, the balloon, I know there is a complete group, and I understand Phil is working with that group as well. And so that's taken care of. And yeah, I really hope it won't come back to you. I was thinking about a time where we had in Holland the annual every year they put up a weather balloon up, and the weather balloons typically come back down after a certain flight time. They calculate how far it will fly, and they predict, well, within in a few kilometers where it will come down. And those weather balloons are also collected by hunters. And yeah, that was also the case where they put a transmitter and even a DATV transmitter, an ATV transmitter. The digital was not available at that time, but an amateur television repeater they put on there, and even a FM repeater on 70 cents. And they put everything in a big box, and they put it on a balloon, and it let it up. And after 3 hours, it came back to the earth on a parachute, and being caught by the best fox hunter. And I've driven around Holland a few times, and I also know that that parachute with a long wire, and also the radar reflector which was needed at that time underneath, was hit by it actually hit during the descent a power line, and caused some power outage somewhere in the south. And I think at that time they rethought what they were doing, and I think it stopped somewhere along the line with one of those thoughts in mind. Okay, 73 is all from Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-ray, passing it on to Michael. And keep on building your repeater, Michael. That was your first goal from Papa Alpha 3 Fox Bravo X-ray.
Yeah, I think it was my first goal actually, and I've been distracted so many times. But you know, like someone said, I do this for the same reason. You know, it keeps your brain active. You know, I mean, I'm 80 now, and you know, a lot of my friends are bloody dead, aren't they? You know, I mean, so I'm hoping I can keep going because the star, the man I idolise is Roger, isn't it? You know, I can't remember his call sign, but he had his 90th birthday a few weeks ago or a month ago, and he's an engineer, and he's ex-BBC. You've probably seen him, and he's doing 3D printing, CNC machining, building model railways, maintaining a full-size model railway for the public to ride on. He's doing all kinds of things, and he's 90. I want to be like that. Yeah, your idea, Leah, Benno, sorry, you've just got an LED. I like that idea. That's really good. Basically, as you said, all you need to know is it working or not? And yes, you can see it on the spectrum, but what if it's not on the spectrum? You want to know why it's not on the spectrum. And it could be that you've lost power to the PA, or you know, Blackbird's stolen the antenna or something. But you want to know for diagnostic purposes, because it could be down in your shack, you know, cables come out, something like that, all kinds of things. So it just helps eliminate. So it's good for that, for fault finding, as it were. The other idea that I just had would be, I mean, I'm sure people have even done this, but supposing you just put a Scotty diode, any kind of diode, a high frequency diode, one that goes up to 2.5 megahertz, let's say, and you just stick one of those in front of, glue it to the front edge of the dish somewhere. Okay, you could use that, and that would measure your ERP, wouldn't it, if you calibrated it? But you'd get a voltage out of the diode for sure. Just a thought. Maybe it'd just burn out the diode. I don't know. I understand it's not a good idea to stand in front of the dish when it's transmitting, but I'm not quite sure what would happen to a diode. Anyhow, that's it from me. Promise not to come back too soon again. From EA7KIR. I don't know if we're going back to Gary or not, because he said that's it from him. But if it is you, Gary, you can close the net. If not, I'll close it for you. So from EA7KIR, good night, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Okay, I'm just coming back to say cheerio to all and to close the net. Thanks for offering, Michael. Yeah, you could do a diode. There's many things you can do. I still think the idea, a little truth table, get your thing calibrated, then you know where you are. But quite frankly, look at your at the wideband spectrum scope, and then you can see where you are, if you're too high or too low or whatever. But it's nice to play around with these things, and indeed it does keep the brain quite active. All right, Albert, cheers to you. I'm going to say 7-3 to everybody on watching us on YouTube. I can't get the guy's name at Oceanside Coastal Access Television. He always reports him, but I don't know the name. But maybe you can tell us, or just add it to the list, and then we'll call you by name. But thanks for watching as well. He's in the States, I know. Also a ham, as far as I know. Anyway, with that, 7-3 to all. We're closing the net, and till next time, next Sunday, the same time. And this was quite an interesting evening, so let's keep it that way. This is ZS6YI. Now, QRT is saying 7-3, guys.